Hey everybody, and welcome back to the farm. Today we are opening up the Nurture Right 360. I need a new incubator. Camp starts on our farm in just 3 weeks and the timing is just perfect to start a round of eggs. We always hatch eggs together at camp. I am sick of my old incubators. We have had so many problems and they're not very old. So you can look at that video here, why I kissed the Cabonics goodbye. But we're here to try this one out. Wonderful reviews, so let's open it up together. I will read these if I can't figure it out. This thing is really wedged in here. Okay, packaging. Oh, look at this glass dome. What I really need is a teaching incubator. I know that we could probably use a cabinet incubator at some point because we like to hatch so much, but I really love these that give a clear view and that they can sit on a countertop. We go into school systems a lot and we teach embryology, and it's nice to be able to have something that a teacher could fit in her classroom somewhere very accessible on a table somewhere. So let's pull this bad boy out. This is very science teachery looking. This little well, this is very simple. This must be the power cord. These two obviously go together. I need an extension cord. Okay, this makes a lot of sense. Look right here. We've got the egg turner and the power cord, and this must be the egg turner. Other incubators are like that. So let's plug that in here. The power cord is green. I know it's on. And now let's plug in the power supply. Why do they all scream like that? All right, already it is reaching a pretty good temperature. That is 89 and rising, and then right here is showing the humidity. I like to keep my humidity low and do a dry hatch. I have found that the humidity in the early parts, if it's very high, is not very forgiving. So we're gonna do a dry hatch this round, and that just means I'm gonna raise the humidity to about 50%, 60% on the last 3 days during lockdown, and I'm waiting for this to get 99. But incubators are notoriously incorrect on this temperature readout, and I have 3 separate hydrometer thermometer combinations that are gonna go inside here. So let's open this up and put in our temperature gauges, because that's gonna tell us if this is correct or if it needs to be adjusted. I have these little hydrometer thermometer readouts. What I'm going to do is actually insert multiple into these, into like, I guess, a triangular shaped fashion. What I wanna know is if there are hot spots. There are some incubators that are really large and you can put a huge amount of eggs in them. Like I have a Farmer's Innovator. It's like a styrofoam container that you can get from Tractor Supply, and it has one spot that is just incredibly hot. And so it's good to know that, and I can still load about 35 eggs in there, and there's a little quadrant that I just don't put eggs in it because I know that they're going to get way too hot and those eggs will not thrive. So let's see how our little Nurture Right is doing on temperature. Now, when you open the lid on an incubator, the temperature is going to go down. Don't freak out. But there's a reason that you're not going to open the lid on the last 3 days of incubation. Ooh, look at this little turner. We'll take a closer look at that in just a second. I want to make sure that we're getting our temperature correct, because there might be a little bit of forgiveness when it comes to humidity, but not very much when it comes to temperature. We shall let that climb for a second. Maybe I should read the instructions. Thoroughly clean the incubator after each use and allow it to run dry. I've never done that before, so let it run dry with no added water for 24 hours to dry it out before storage. This says that right before lockdown, which is the 3 days prior to hatching, you can just lift up the egg turner. Y'all, I have some chicken eggs that are so big that I have to remove the eggs before I remove the turner. Like, some of them are just big. I wonder if that's possible with this egg turner. I mean, she's just a big egg. Okay, this is reading at 98. It's gonna take just a little while for that to catch up because it was 72. That one says 84, 81. They were all in different spots. And 85. That was in an incubator or a brooder with a sick little bird. And so that one was already kind of warmed up. We're getting there. Okay, before we talk about some of the features that are on the machine that you can adjust correctly for what you're hatching, because you could do any number of things in your nurture, right? I guess you could do quail, you could do chicken and ducks and geese. I'm not sure about an emu egg. I've never seen one in person, so they look enormous like a dinosaur. But let's talk about the technicalities of hatching. You need 21 days, and so you're gonna have a number on here that is gonna count down from 21 all the way to 1. And then on day 18, your rotation needs to stop. And so this is gonna stop turning automatically, but you also have the option to pull the turner out just so that the chick's legs don't get caught in there. In my other video unboxing the Cobonics incubator, I did not remove the turner, and everybody is coming for me in the comments. I have done so many hatches with the rotation in there and so many of them with them out. I have never, not to say survivor bias is a thing, I've never had a problem with it. That doesn't mean that you guys did not have a chick with a problem with that little yellow turner left in. But I did notice that if some eggs were about to hatch and the other chicks were pushing them around, I had some losses if an egg was face up and got, and the egg inside of it had started pipping and breaking through on the top of the shell. If another chick was just wandering around in there, you know they go bonkers in there, and rolled it over, sometimes the chick can get really, really tired and it's in the wrong position. And so I had some losses, and I liked that if you keep the turner in there, then that helped the egg to stay in the correct position. That's not everybody's advice. I might be alone in this, so don't feel like you have to take that advice, but that is why I do it. So 21 days, and you can watch this count down, and that you can also adjust this to be able to hatch a different amount of days if you're doing a different type of poultry. Every poultry probably has a little bit of a different setting that you need on there. Also, this right here is your humidity readout. Now you are responsible for adding enough water into this to set the humidity yourself. This is not a humidity regulator, it's a humidity readout. So how much water you add into this little tray right here is going to determine how humid it is. So my advice to you is to grab a syringe, add a couple milliliters at a time, and just watch how your humidity goes up. It's going to be different for everybody. I have tried to measure it and watch how much my humidity can go up, but from day to day, based on the humidity inside the house and what season it is, we're in North Carolina, it feels pretty humid right now. And so this can fluctuate very, very, there's a big range, I guess I should say. Another feature on this machine right here is this small little handle, and this opens so that you can vent the machine. You need to open this fully in the last 3 days so that there's plenty of air circulation happening when the chicks are hatching. When the first chick emerges, the humidity shoots sky high. It's just so incredibly humid in there because the chick is moist and there's moisture in the shell. It's released into the atmosphere, and if they stay closed and your humidity stays high for too long, the chicks that have not broken through that inner membrane yet, they can drown in their shell. And we are trying to regulate humidity, and we also just want some fresh air in there. And so keeping plenty of oxygen flow is going to regulate humidity and also just ensure a happier, healthier time for all the chicks in there. During the course of your incubation, you can open and close this freely to kind of help with the humidity. If it's way too humid in there, you're gonna crank this bad boy open so that you can make sure that you're mitigating how much moisture you added to the air. And then if it's not quite staying humid enough, you can close it 2/3 of the way or all the way, just basically to help regulate the humidity. My notes right here say that they recommend that you leave it half open. Now, very important, when you're trying to raise the humidity on the last 3 days of your hatch, it's important that you use warm water right here. This is where you're going to insert your water into these valves right here, and that's going to help reduce the shock or the ability for the temperature to fluctuate and go low. Okay, it looks like our temperature is coming up to normal, and so let's take a look at it and then also observe these buttons here on the top. I want to make sure that this is rotating correctly, and so I can do a little rotation test by pushing the plus and the minus button together. It's like a little carousel of happiness. All right, and right here we have a bright light, and this is used for candling an egg. This is a really cool feature because if you stay in a dark room and you put your egg on top of this, you can see through the shell. Well, most shells, not very dark shells, your dark copper morans and your olive eggers might be hard to see through. This is how we're going to be able to see whether or not the eggs are fertilized and developing like they should. It's also a good idea to candle all of your eggs before you ever put them in here, and you're checking for cracks and fissures. Now this has still only been running for a few minutes, but that's telling me 99.0. This one's coming up to 97. Let's say that the internal reading is showing me at 97 and 98, which is not warm enough. Then what I can do is come over here and we're gonna press and hold this for 3 seconds. Maybe 5. Maybe longer. There we go. And now I can adjust the temperature. I can bring this up or down by using the plus and minus. I'm gonna hit that again, and I can also change my days. Let's say that I'm incubating a certain poultry that takes longer to incubate or takes less days to incubate. I can adjust it right there. Very simple. At the end of the cycle of 21 days for hatching chicken eggs, you're gonna wanna restart this to 21 days. And so what you're gonna do is you're gonna press and hold menu and minus at the same time for 5 seconds, and that's gonna start it back at 21 days and make sure that this rotator tray stops rotating on the last 3 days. So we're gonna press and hold for 3 seconds. I mean 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's a complete reset. That loud scream tells you that you did it right. All right here my Therm Pro is showing me 99.7. This one has also come all the way up to 98.4. I think we've got a pretty accurate gauge, and I think here in the next couple of minutes, they'll all be up to 99. All right, I think I'm ready. I'm gonna add the eggs in now, and the temperature is gonna go down when we take the lid off. That's where the heat source is coming from. Don't freak out, it'll just come back up in the next 10 minutes. My eggs are so pretty. Look at the blues. These never show up on camera very well. Let's see. Ah, it does actually. Look how blue this is. Oh, I need to remember this time of night to take pictures of my eggs. This is probably the bluest blue that we have, but we've also got a darker green, and then we've got this beautiful like spearminty kind of a green. We've been working on this, our rainbow egger colors for quite a while now, and we're in the process. These have been back crossed to a black copper moran, and so that means the next generation of hens are gonna lay an egg that's even darker green than this. Not all of these eggs, obviously we have a mixture in here, but these specifically have a blue egg gene and a dark brown egg gene. And so in that combination, being back crossed again to another, getting another copy of that dark brown gene, it makes sense in my head. I'm sorry if this is confusing to you, but we're going to get a darker egg out of them. So this one right here, this is just pure Americana right here, but she's been crossed with a black copper moran, and what we're gonna get from her is an egg that is this green. And so it kind of goes, we go through these cycles, and the next cycle of breeding that we do, we're gonna cross everybody back to a Americana rooster, and he's a lavender Americana rooster. He's absolutely beautiful, good genetics, good personality. So let's get started. So this right here simply turns in a circle, round and round. There's that side that was kind of hot, 99 and 99, and that's okay. This just comes straight up when you're ready to remove it. Ooh. There we go. I love them. Off with those. I'm no longer raising that breed of bird over there. That was a lemon cuckoo Niederheiner. They're so cute, but I'm not really opting for those anymore. I don't need all 3 of these in here long term, but I want to get to know this machine, and so this is where I'm going to start. Let's put the lid back on. All right, we've got a ventilation port right back here. And then we've got this one right here. I'm gonna go ahead and open it up. I like the humidity where it is now. Like I said, I'm doing a dry hatch. That means I'm just not gonna add water until the last few days. That's served me better here in with the humidity that we have in North Carolina. So, but when I want to add water, I'm gonna add it here, and then on the last 3 days, you're gonna take that off, and then you're gonna open that up, full send it, and that's all there is to it. I can't wait to update you guys on this. Thanks for joining me for this unboxing of the Nurture Right 360. I have very high hopes that this is the new incubator for our farm. As I said previously, we do go into classrooms quite a bit. We partner with the 4-H program and we provide all the eggs for the embryology program here in our county, which is such a fun and exciting and very rewarding partnership to see how these kids watch farming happening even in their classroom. I think it's very sweet. So we will update you and let you know how this is going. I will keep track of everything and we'll make that into a separate video where we candle the eggs and we see how this machine compares to the other type of incubators that I have. That's all for today's video. Thank you so much for joining in. We'll see you next time, guys.